Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Power Network. I'm Amy. So, Chrissy Poo's got a new lady love, or so the records say. Thanks to crafted evidence, we know he's been burning up those phone lines and visitation logs with someone named Lizzie L. And you know what that makes me ask? What's wrong with Lizzie? Today, we're taking a peek at Lizzie and a few of the other gals who's penned their hearts out to CW. I'm setting sail for Watts Island this morning, rolling them credits while the rest of you hop on the boat. Big love to our Power Dragonflies and our Power Replay crew. We love you all.
Carefully strumming his old guitar again. Words rolling out into our fire. If heaven had wings, I would steal them and fly away with you for a while. Hearing the essence of gratitude, dreamy little smile on my lips. I miss my cue, but baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but I had you for that day.
Here in the essence of gratitude, I get to be here with my Watts Island crew on this Saturday. Good morning. I thought I would do a morning live with you and talk about some of the new stuff that's popped off on Watts Island. Hello, Jennifer. How are you doing? Hi, everybody that's listening. So it has come to my attention that Chris Watts has a new lady love. Chrissy Poo is sending all his earwax to a new love in his life. Well, I don't know. I'm speculating. He's been burning up the phone lines and the visitation logs with this new person. So, I mean, what else would they be doing, right? But something romantic, because what else is there? For people in prison, that non-actual romance type of love. And it made me wonder, what is wrong with Lizzie? What do you think is wrong with Lizzie that she is wanting to write to Chris Watts in prison? Before we get started, if we could just start that algorithm dance party that I like to do, just start warming up your fingers and dancing them right up to the hearts and thumbs up button. Helps us go out into the algorithm party out there, bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help me out. Today, we're coming to you on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So hi, everybody on those platforms. Just give us that love on the platform you're on, however you do it, and it's really appreciated. If you want to give us a little extra love, we take Cashapp, and that's Parawomenradio. It's up at the top if you're wondering. All love is appreciated, but not expected. Okay, guys, so let me get my screen together and we'll take off. I wanted to start off with going over to Reddit before we look at this new piece of information and just try to look at why. Why are people writing to Chris Watts in prison? And they're asking those very questions. Why do women send love letters to killers in prison? Dahmer, Bundy, Manson, Peterson. They're all examples of schmurders who have received hundreds of love mails from women, including Watts. What's in the mindset of women who do this? Because I don't understand it. A few months ago, a woman I used to work with was posting about how handsome Ted Bundy was on Facebook and how she was obsessed with him. Mind you, this is an older lady, well in her 40s with kids. I look at him and feel disgust. What's wrong with people to feel admiration for schmurderers? I don't know where to post this. I am new to this place. What do you guys think? Some of the answers we got might get downvoted, but some women feel they have the capacity and care to change or fix a broken man. They may know he has unalived many people, but are under the impression that he would never do that to them. Do you think that Gypsy Rose's beaux are under that impression too, that she would never find a disabled person to unalive them? Never. I bet you they do. I think that plays right into it. And it is a common theory. People are agreeing with it. This over here on Quora, what is the psychology of women writing letters to and falling in love with prisoners they've never met? And this person says, before I ever answer these questions, I will point out that my answer is based only on my own experience working in a correctional environment. People in prison have a lot to gain when they can get someone's attention via mail or phone. This gives them something to focus a great deal of time and energy on because the benefits are so incredibly great. The question refers to women specifically writing letters to prisoners without specifying the sex or gender of the prisoners. So I will explore both the generalized male and female aspects of inmates who write women that fall in love with them. Now, you guys, we won't be reading everything that or watching everything that we view, but I will put everything that we look at during the show down in the YouTube show notes. We do this for fair play use and to cite our sources. This is all for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is all our research, and we urge you to go out there and do your own research. So inmates in written form get to perfect their communication with the ladies they write, and they overwhelmingly know that these women want to hear. I have spent about 6 years reading inmate mail, and I have actually categorized some of these trends informally. Sometimes their sentiments appear to be sincere, but this is the situation. 1, the "you're not like other women" tactic plays on the idea that women they are writing are something special. We all want to be special, but oftentimes there are not specifics identifying what it really is that makes them special. They cite intuition of how the women are just different somehow. 2, the "you make me want to be a better person" tactic. This plays on the idea that some pen pals were writing to inmates because they feel the need to help them out, give them women's writing life a purpose, and give them validation in their mission so it feeds their psychological needs. It will help create an additional bond and even complicate things with guilt in the inmate if the inmate chooses to twist it around. 3, the "you're so beautiful, sexy, hot, etc." tactic. Let's face it, sometimes this serves the men and the women's needs to feel attractive. Inmates love getting photos. This makes the women feel great about someone wanting to see them and discuss what makes them so attractive. Because if they have started writing inmates, it's usually because people around them aren't noticing. 4, the "you can do better than me" tactic. This one uses a bit of the reverse psychology. You know, we love a little reverse psychology in order to spark a challenge to the women writing them. Sometimes, certainly, it is sincere, but more often than not, the women see it as a challenge to care about the inmate more just out of spite. There is something to be said about the type of woman who writes inmates and fall for them. They tend to be ladies with poor self-image, lack of self-esteem, confidence, and who are lonely. They get something out of these letters just as the inmates do. The inmates get attention, oftentimes money, and someone to help them when they get released. This isn't always a healthy relationship, but they exist in numerous forms. So we know like Gypsy Rose is a perfect example. Like, in fact, she married one of them and she's getting engaged to another. Sarah Boone is another person who does his engaging in this, but she has a little bit of a twist where she has women involved in the mix because Lana comes to mind when I think about that. And I actually just got word that Lana passed away. So rest in peace, Lana. Rest in peace. Uh, uh, but then there's also the term hyperstophilia, is the phenomenon characterized by sexual interest in and attraction to those who commit crimes. It was coined by John Money in 1986 and is derived from the Greek word meaning to commit an outrage against someone. So that is the psychological term for women who do these things. But, sometimes it has to do with just a religious reason to write them. We actually interviewed someone who was one of Chris Watts's pen pals. Before we go into the new evidence that we have, we're going to take a look at that. And we're going to look at some of his past pen pals and what we think about that. But this is Angela from Angela's Aging Essentials. We interviewed her last year. We do a show, a podcast with her called Skincare and Suspects, where we talk about skincare, anti-aging things, as well as true crime. But before we even started that podcast, I met her this way and I interviewed her because I wanted to know what would make somebody write to Chris Watts and what would Chris Watts be saying in some of these letters. So let me go over into chat really quick before we go in and see what you guys are saying. And yeah. Hey, John, you're going to the park? Well, have fun. I know when I saw somebody said I was beautiful for an older woman the other day, which I'm going to claim it. I'm just going to claim it. I'm an older woman. Proud to be an older woman. Made it to older woman status. Yes, earwax. I always think of earwax because he was picking his earwax in the interrogation. So sending his earwax to the lady loves. Okay, so here we go. This is Angela, one of Angela's letters from an interview that we did with her.
So I do hope that you will subscribe, hit the like button, and be sure to hit the bell so you're notified whenever I upload an additional video, and we'll just jump right into this. Dear Angela, hello. I hope this letter finds you doing well and growing in the fruit of the Lord. I know you're probably like, it took you long enough to respond, and I would like to apologize for that. I've been working on a project for the Lord the last couple of months, which has kept me busy, but also extremely fulfilled at the same time. It's amazing how worshiping and serving the Lord can make you feel, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Deuteronomy 8:3. So true in every way. I hope that your 4th of July homecoming with your daughter was...
No, did you see me playing your letters when you were having the...
I did. Amy, I love your content, by the way. It's so good.
Oh, thank you. I love your content too. So tell us a little bit. I kind of explained why you were writing, and I was like, it wasn't romantic. Kind of tell us again what prompted you to want to write to Chris Watts.
So for anybody that is really familiar with the Chris Watts case, you know, the infamous front porch when he was doing the news interview, I seen that live on TV. And I knew immediately when I seen that he was guilty. I mean, I just knew. And from there, I am a very religious person. I'm a Christian. And I'm of the, mind and body belief that whenever I just continuously think about something, I interpret that as the Lord is telling me that I need to act on something. And if I don't act on it, then it almost becomes like a burden that I end up carrying. And I just continuously kept thinking about that porch interview. Like, he is so guilty. I know he done this. This is horrible. And I initially reached out to him because I wanted him to know that regardless of how horrendous your behavior is, if you repent, then the Lord offers you redemption and salvation in that. So that was always the reason why, the intention behind the reason why I wrote Chris, because I wanted him to understand that he could have redemption, and in redemption, he could have salvation. And kind of in just corresponding back and forth, it was always really biblical, always really scriptural. But in that, you know, we had a little bit of small talk, you know, about his family, about my family. Some of that I've shared publicly. Some of that I still to this day have not shared. But my ultimate reason in writing him is because as a Christian, I don't want anybody to die and go to hell. So that was my intention for initially writing him.
And did he say why he decided he wanted to write you back? Because I'm sure he's getting a lot of letters. Like, why you?
He didn't necessarily, God, Amy, it's been so long since I have just kind of looked over these letters, but just kind of remembering, and listen, my hormones are off the charts. But
it's okay,
so
honey. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I have brain fog, but I can't really ever remember him saying, you know, like pinpointing why, hey, this is why I decided to write you back. You know, I don't ever remember like that one letter why he said, hey, this is why I decided to write you back.
I do often wonder what makes Chris Watts decide to write one person and not the next. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning to everyone. Welcome to the Power Network. We're doing a Chris Watts Watts Island this morning. We're talking about he has a new interest that he has been burning up the phone lines and the visitation logs with. We're looking at some past pen pals before we get into the main event. But Angela from Angela's Aging Essentials has written him, and she is sharing some of her letters with us. And why do you think, what would make Chris Watts write to one person and not the next? I think he probably wrote to Angela at the time because he was just getting into his jailhouse religion phase, and so he, you know, was needing to bone up with people that are familiar with the Bible and the scripture. And we know Chris is one of those people that can learn by reading something once, and so I think he was just perfecting his craft. What do you guys think?
Heavenly wanted to know, when was the last time that you have corresponded with him?
Gosh, I wish I would have pulled my letters out before this. I'm going to say maybe 2021. I know for...
It's been a while, huh?
Yeah, I know for sure that COVID had happened because I had kind of asked him, like I had wrote him a letter and then he responded. And then the next letter that I wrote him, I had asked him, we had a Valentine's Day party at our church, and it was kind of like this
yeah, the earwax is just a long-standing joke that I have. I will sometimes put it up on my thumbnails because he was sitting in the interrogation, had his finger dug in his ear, rubbed it around, took it out, and then put it in his mouth. And so I just make a joke that, you know, he's sending his lady love his earwax. You know, only she gets the earwax these days. Only one. Lizzie is the one that gets the earwax, which I don't even know. This is all speculation, you guys. Like I said, this is all for entertainment purposes only. We do have the logs that we're going to look at. I will present you with the information and you guys can decide on your own. But I do have a very dry, heavy sense of humor, dry sense of humor, Gen X type of humor. So if it sounds weird, it's probably just me making a joke.
A scripture kind of like party that we had. And so I had sent him a copy of the questions that
Can't
we
help
did
my
that night.
humor.
And
We can't help the humor we're born with. I think bathroom humor is funny. I laugh at bathroom humor, and I just, what it is, what it is.
remember including those questions and also asking him how things were at the time where he was related to COVID. So I remember intertwining those things. So I'm going to say 2021.
Was COVID was 20 to 21 or 9. When was COVID? It's just 20 to 21, right? Or 20 to 22. So he's right in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, I'm going to say right in the middle. I can remember COVID happening like in March of 2020. And then, I mean, of course, it carried over like it's still kind of carrying over. But I remember the first time personally, I really heard about COVID and they kind of put a label on it was, like I said, around March, April of 2020.
Mm. Mm. And when you wrote him, what precautions did you take in writing him so he wouldn't know where you lived and all that good?
That's really important. And this was a question that was really important for me to ask for her. And I think it's for anybody that is writing prisoners. I know they have a new way now where you don't have to actually do letters. You can write emails using the Kias or whatever, and I think, and we did do a live where we dug into Chris Watts's prison, and they don't quite have the tablets, but they're about to get them. So they might have them by now. This was like 2 or 3 months ago, but at the time they didn't. But I think it's really important to at least have a PO box if you're going to write to people.
Good stuff.
I got a PO box. So, I say I got a PO box. I had
Good morning, Buckeye girl.
already had a PO box. We live in a very rural area, and sometimes if
I am going to guess that you're from Ohio.
you're having stuff shipped, depending on where you're having it shipped from, California and New York, 2 primary places, my address doesn't always want to register in the city that I'm in. So I had a PO box for a while, and I just felt very confident with using that PO box. And because I already had it, I knew that, him or anybody else wouldn't really be able to get like my home address because I just had that PO box. So it just ended up working out. Like I said,
isn't Angela just beautiful? Her skin is she's just always on point. I have to point out that she's in her late 40s. She does an aging skincare channel. She just got dentures. So she has a whole series on needing to get dentures. I think she had some medication problems, which I have the same problem where they're like doing things to my teeth. But it's just a wonderful channel. I will be sure to put the link for Angela, and I will put the link for this interview. This is only a portion of the interview we're looking at. I think the interview was like an hour and a half long, but yeah, let's keep going. And then we'll go into Jen Crafted Evidence has some new information about who Chris Watts is writing to these days.
I said, being a Christian, I just believe that everything happens for a reason.
Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Helps us go out into the algorithm. And also, please be sure to check to see if you are subscribed. And if you aren't, be sure to subscribe. And when you subscribe, ring the bell so that you will get the notifications when we go live and or release videos.
And I already had that PO box, so it just ended up working out.
Yeah, but I think it's important to see that people are like, why are these girls writing to him and blah, 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 blah. But I don't think people understand that people are writing him for noble reasons, for the reasons, their faith is telling them to do. And I just always think it's important to show that there's good people out in the world writing Chris Watts.
Yeah. And I to this day feel it's important to show that there are people out there that still care about people's salvation and their souls and what happens in this world. And I think that's really honorable. Okay, let's keep going. Let's go on to the main event here. So last night, I wasn't able to join her. She did Jen from Crafted Evidence podcast did a live where she talks about this little bit of information that she received.
Well, happy Friday.
Like I said, we won't be watching everything in its entirety. We'll stop and start things. We'll speed it up. We do this for fair play use, but I will put the link for everything down in the YouTube show notes on the Power Network.
Crafties. I did a live stream the other day where we were talking about prison talk with Amy from Parawomenradio, and
and just for another little added update, we will be doing another Weird Watts Wednesday this Wednesday, and it's going to be a part 2 of Chris Watts Prison Talk. We will be having we have Cowboy RC that's going to be joining us. There will be Cowboy RC, he's an ex-prison guard. We have John from Crafted Evidence, and then Rose Z will be there as well. So it'll be another collaboration. And we'll be talking about one of our favorite topics, Chrissy Poo in prison, the CPP.
Today I got a response to a records request I put in months ago in the Chris Watts case. I reached out to Dodge Correction to ask who has been on Chris Watts's visitors list as of recent, and I got that today. I will kind of put up on the screen. I'm going to be honest with you, I blocked out this person's last name because I'm not calling them out. It's not what I do, and in the end of this video I will also show you if you want to request your own reports, you can. And so taking a look at this, I put a request in to see who has...
Not gonna lie, when I saw that her name was Lizzie L, I did do a Google search. Who is Lizzie L that is talking to Chris Watts? Nothing came up, but just out of curiosity, this seems like it might be a little bit of breaking news.
Has been visiting Chris for the year of 2025. However, what I got back shows that there is a person who has been visiting him by the name of Lizzie. And if you go look this up yourself, you ask who has been on Chris Watts's...
Oops. I think she was having some tech problems. Let me pop it.
Popular one that everyone is talking about. So, Jamie, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my phone, you guys. If you're willing to come up and kind of just listen with me and jump on here and maybe give me some commentary, I'd love to have you. I just dropped the StreamYard link in the chat. You don't have to go on camera. You can just be a little avatar if you want. But I will go ahead and continue playing this video, and then I'll be back in one moment. Visitors list as of recent. And I got that today. I will kind of put up on the screen. I'm going to be honest with you, I blocked out this person's last name because I'm not calling them out. It's not what I do. And in the end of this video, I will also...
Although I will say, Lizzie L, if you come across this, I would love to talk to you. I would love to know what you talked to Chris Watts about and what it is that is drawing you towards that man. I am very interested in that.
Show you if you want to request your own reports, you can. And so taking a look at this, I put a request in to see who has been visiting Chris for the year of 2025. However, what I got back shows that there is a person who has been visiting him by the name of Lizzie. And if you go look this up yourself, you can get all the details. But I do not see any family members on this list. The most recent visit is March 25th. So there's that. A lot of you have been asking, does he have a girlfriend? This to me looks like there is a girl.
Do you think Lizzie is the girlfriend? I mean, why else would somebody write him so many freaking times. We're gonna go forward, and you can see here how many times in March. Okay, so we down here at the bottom, we're down at 325.24. So in 325, 326, 327, and then it skips. There's only like one in 5, 16.24. There's only a few, and one in 6.24, 2 in 7.24, 1 in 8, but like it starts picking up steam here on 10.24. We get 2 in a month, but 2 in a month isn't, well, that's a visitation. It's a contact visit. So I guess that is quite a bit. And then in November, she comes back twice. She only comes once in December. She comes twice in January, once in February, only once, and right before Valentine's Day on 2/13/25. And then she was there 3 times in March, on the 1st, the 22nd, and the 25th of 25. And these are at all different times. So I wonder if she lives in the same state or if she's traveling to visit him. What do you guys think?
Heard any phone calls from Chris Watts recorded. The only way we're going to get those is if someone records them and leaks.
Yeah, she's going in and saying that we're not going to get any phone calls from Chris as long as he's at Dodge Correctional, because it's the state's the facility he's at does not release, they don't release recorded phone calls. So we have gotten some recorded phone calls, but they were those phone calls that were like 3-way calls where the person that called Chris was recording it. I think we got a recorded phone call when he was talking to that lawyer, and we might have gotten a few recorded phone calls when he spoke to some women here and there.
Phone calls, which I did have a video that I played. Maybe I'll play it at the end. I'll have to go look for it, where he wanted to get a message out there to his people about not believing armchair detective. But so going through this, can you guys see that? I know it's a little hard to read, but this is the same visitor. It is a female. Her name is Lizzie. I blocked out the last name because I don't want people, because of this video, I don't want people tracking her down, but I know it is public record. It's something you can go search yourself. And yes, Carrie, I believe this person has to live around the area, because let's take a look at this. She came,
well, I mean, I would hope she lives around the area because of the fact that she's coming 2 to 3 times a month. Is he only allowed to have visitors? Can he have a visit a week? Do we know this? Do we know if he can have a visit a week? Because that would be another reason, like maybe she doesn't live around there, because wouldn't she come every week?
The obsession tonight to join and see what Kelly's got going on. And the interesting thing, Carrie, it makes me wonder, did family visit him? It's just they didn't provide that to me. Usually these visitor laws show people.
I think what happened was that the family came and visited sometime in 24, because we got a new picture in 24 of the Watts. So I think it was in January of 24. And it looks like this starts in March. So did they not, maybe they didn't provide her with the January, because I know the Watts did visit in 24.
Every jail, prison, what have you, has a website. They have a media contact. They have a public information officer that you are directed to reach out to when you make your requests. So the way they handle this, and I will tell you probably one of the reasons they do it this way is because this prison has had some infamous names there. So you have to go in and make yourself an account. This is public records requests. One thing I will tell you, every single agency is different. Some of them are going to charge you money for these reports. So that's why I do appreciate you who donate to me, whether it's like $1.
Yeah, it's really helpful when you guys just even donate $1 or $2, because it just, I don't know any agency that doesn't charge you for reports, to be honest. And it's a big reason why I don't do a lot of reports. Jen bought me a membership into a subreddit once. I never quite made it into there, but I think there would have been a lot of information in there. So if you ever think of me to do things like that, that's helpful too. Or if you ever want to just email me the information, I think I've got my email going across the bottom of the screen. But if I don't, it's parawomenradio@gmail.com. And the women is plural. So I don't think it is. Let me just type it into chat really quick. There is my email if you ever want to. Oops, that's not right. Sorry. Hold on a second. Ooh, my typing. Oh, Lordy. I need one of those keyboards that lights up. It's really rainy here today, so I can't see very well. Parawomenradio@gmail.com. There it is. If you guys want to email me any information that you come across, it would be very helpful and very appreciated.
$2, $10, whatever. That money goes towards collecting things like this. It also goes towards editing software, using generic video, that kind of thing. So appreciate those donations when you do send them. So also, sometimes when you request a mugshot or you request a police report, it might cost you money, and you may have to sign a document saying you will not sell this, you will not publish it. And so what does that mean? Perfect example for you. I put in a request for, and let me see if I can try to find it through my email here. Nicole Kessinger was arrested, you guys, in Aurora, Colorado. And let me see if I can share this with you. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Share screen. Well, let me do this. I'll pull up Aurora, Colorado's website and I'll show you. Well, I guess I had to pre-do that. Anyway, Aurora, Colorado. That is where Kessinger originally got arrested when she was younger. I requested the report. I got the mugshot. However, they made me sign something saying I will not use and distribute the photo. That is why you never see me posting her mugshot in my live streams or in my videos, because I signed a document saying I would not do that. So I'm not going to break the law. You've seen the photo out there. You are.
I wonder if that is because she was a minor. Wasn't she a minor when that mugshot happened? Was that because she wasn't of age that she was required to sign something like that? So she's just explaining to you the process of getting information.
In Weld County, I did not see the public defender's name on the visitors list. I have seen the name in the past, Anna Novak. That was, according to Dylan Tallman and another inmate, a confirmed girlfriend. I no longer see Anna's name on the visitor list. That may mean the relationship is done, if it was a relationship. Maxie, I'm going to pull your comment up here. Why would he need a lawyer? He's out of pocket and needed no more. Right. My best guess on who this person is someone writing a book or a girlfriend. That is my best guess on that.
Now, we know that Kelly from What's the Obsession there's a book that I think she's co-writing a book that's supposed to come out in July, but it wouldn't be them. So yeah, it could be another book. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a book? A woman writing him about a book? Or do you think that it's a love interest? I think it's a love interest. I don't, but I mean, it has been speculated that he is being forced to keep his story alive by other inmates, that he's being shook down like that, because keeping his story alive makes people give him money and send him stuff. And so it's been speculated that that's going on. Do you guys remember when he was Banfield came out and she talked about the convicted unaliver Chris Watts blames women in new prison letters? Chris Watts, convicted of strangling his pregnant wife and suffocating his 2 daughters to death in 2018, is now blaming other women in new letters obtained by the Daily Mail. Do you remember that? Do you remember this?
Bella and to Celeste and his unborn son. Nope. The women in his life are to blame. The Daily Mail just got its hands on some letters.
I think it's a dangerous thing to be a woman and to write Chris Watts, because maybe you'll be blamed.
Letters written by Watts at the Dodge Correctional Institute. That is a maximum security prison in central Wisconsin, where he was sent. And he has been there for the last 6 years. The letters show a man determined to find anyone but himself responsible for his diabolical behavior. He actually addressed his letters to God, zip code unknown. And he first unloads on his mistress, Nicole Kessinger, writing this: I was misled. I was tempted by a harlot. I was weak, and I allowed myself to be fooled by an evil woman. She led me from the path of righteousness. I know that you will deal with her someday. She will be judged. You know my heart, Lord. I am a man after your heart. I seek your face. I allowed her to sway me. FYI, Nicole Kessinger told the police that she was dating a man who told her that he was separated and divorcing. But then when his wife and children disappeared, she got very scared and she called the police immediately, leading to his arrest. But Watts doesn't stop with Nicole.
If you believe that story. Okay, NK.
Kessinger, no. He unloads on other women too, mostly unnamed women, calling them harlots and Jezebel.
Listen up, Lizzie L. If this is a romantic thing, if it's just a book deal, then get your book deal. But if this is romantic, listen up, Lizzie Al.
And whores. And of course, he blames his pregnant wife for being domineering and self-absorbed, suggesting that she caused her death. death.
St. Chrissy.
I think I just threw up in my mouth.
Amen, Ron.
What is weird is that he doesn't seem to have it in for all women, because plenty of his letters are addressed to female pen pals. And get this, he seems to be looking for a new wife. My next guest broke this story.
When I heard
is
he's looking for a new wife, I remember thinking, like, that never occurred to me. It never freaking occurred to me that Chris Watts would remarry. But Chris Watts, I guarantee you, he's going to remarry. And will it be Lizzie L? Will Lizzie L become Lizzie W?
Senior reporter with the Daily Mail. He is top-notch in true crime. He's a friend of the show, and he's a good friend of mine. Steve, I should have called you for a drink before you came on the air, as opposed to going for drinks after work, because I couldn't unclench my teeth while reading your piece. So just start with what else you got on what he writes about women.
I should have warned you, first of all. Let's start there.
Yeah.
You should have warned us all, because when you drop the remarry word, I just don't think that should be legal. I don't think it's crazy to not allow him to have the people that he murdered in his cell with him, and I don't think it's crazy not to allow him to remarry.
My hands on these letters. I've seen a lot of his letters. I know his handwriting. I know his writing style. And the thing about Chris Watts is that he couches everything that he writes in this spiritual Christianity type of thing that isn't like any Christianity that I know, that basically he doesn't take personal responsibility.
It's because it's called jailhouse religion. I learned about that when I was going into the jails doing my counseling. They get the jailhouse religion, and it's unlike any religion you've ever come across. It's a lot like Pentecostal. It's a lot like that.
He was always tempted. He was always weak. Somebody was always pulling him aside, and that somebody was always a woman. She was a whore. She was a harlot. She tempted me with her soft words and with her lips. It makes me think, can you take any responsibility whatsoever for what you did? And it seems like you can't.
Turns out no. Yeah, so he says in a letter that you got your hands on, quote, "The lips of an immoral woman may be smooth, but no amount of paint on her face can disguise her evil heart." So now,
I don't know. We are going to have Cowboy RC up here on panel this Wednesday for our Weird Watts Wednesday. And that will be something we will definitely need to ask him about, marriage in prison. Like, I forgot all about this. I had put it out of my mind that Chris Watts wants to remarry. I had completely put it out of my mind, and now it's back in my mind, and I'm going to be bothered by it. So, and I'm sure you guys are going to be bothered by it too.
now I guess it's the makeup's fault for what he did. But he doesn't seem to hate all women. He seems to really want a new one. What is the story about the search for a wife? Is there anybody who's actually interested?
Well, I mean, we see this all the time. Chris Watts is not a bad-looking person. And, there's always going to be somebody who's interested in him. And so there are women.
I will give it that he's not the most heinous looking person in the world, but he wouldn't have been someone I would have been attracted to. I wouldn't have recoiled from him, but he's got a big head. Like, I got a big head, but he's got a big weird head. And so I'm not very attracted to that.
And that write to him, and he writes back. He's actually very good at
I know I've got a big head because I've got to wear, when I get hats, they're tight on my head, but it's also I got a lot of hair. Chris doesn't have a lot of hair, so what's his excuse for a big head?
Responding. And of course, a lot of the times he's just talking about, it's a lot of spiritual stuff that he talks about, a lot of Christianity, a lot of God, a lot of Jesus. But then, he'll sometimes talk about himself and be like, I'm misunderstood. And, I was a good father. I was a good person until something happened. But I'm still a good person. So, it's interesting what he'll say to these women. And, a lot of these women, they do fall for it. They do think, well, maybe he's changed. Maybe he's a better person than I thought he was.
I want to pop that piece back up there. We just had it up on the screen, but I want to read it. It was this business about being a good person. I'm barfing in my mouth. He says, "I was a good husband and father. Things happened. Things happened. And I am no longer a good husband.
Stuff happened. What can I say?
Husband and father, but I am still a good man." Is this something he wrote to someone in particular, trying to convince her that he'd be her knight in shining armor?
He wrote this to a woman. And, I really, when I read it, I thought things happen. I mean, things happen like it starts to rain. That's something that happens. What doesn't generally just happen is that you strangle.
It reminds me of that T-shirt that used to be "Shit Happens," right? So people did a back in 22, they released this article when Chris Watts was sending racy letters to multiple women from his prison cell. So this isn't a new thing, Chris Watts writing letters. What else does he have to do? Chris Watts, the man who unalived his pregnant wife and his 2 daughters, has been corresponding with several women for years. And now a jail source tells people that the convicted unaliver is sending racy letters to some of them. I know we covered it where he said something about soaking somebody's panties. Remember that? They send sexy pictures and he responds, says the source, who has spoken with Watts several times in jail. There are a lot of women who think he's handsome and misunderstood. They send a lot of letters. Watts, who is serving a life sentence in a federal prison in Wisconsin, has bought a lot of stamps and paper from the commissary, People confirms. Prisoners are allowed to correspond with people as long as there are no threats to anyone's safety. They are not allowed to send or receive pornography, but there are no rules against suggestive photos. He's got nothing else to do, says the source, so he feeds his ego in that way because he's not popular at all in prison. He's in protective custody. I think it's understood that he's in some type of protective custody, but within that protective custody, he's in Gen Pop within the protective custody. And the only outlet he has is the letters. So on August, the insider says that Watts began to receive more mail after the 2020 release of a Netflix documentary about his infamous case. The documentary entitled American Schmurder, The Family Next Door, investigated the case from start to finish. I don't know what he's hoping to get out of these letters, says the source, but these women are very important to him. They're really all he's got. And I guess it kind of proves, because if the family hasn't really visited in the last year, it is really all he's got. There's more articles that have been released where 5 years he's a custodian in the jail. This was a year after the last one that we read. And he's still writing the female pen pals. He's still got the pen pals. He told Cadle about his pen pals. He was close with Dylan Tauman, who he supposedly wrote a book with, and I think they shared pen pals. But do you guys remember this woman that was the objects were found in Dylan's cell, the Vaseline, the undies, the whatever else it was. And they were trying to say that Chris was just loaning or giving these things to Dylan. But when we had Cowboy RC, who is an ex-sergeant in the prison system, said that those are like lucrative things. Those are very important things to prisoners, and it's not something that would just be given. It would be a love relationship that would cause that type of thing. Now, Dylan has said that it's not the case, so we can only go by what Dylan says. But what do you guys think?
He's punished.
And then Dylan also was this psychiatrist or psychologist wrote to Chris. Remember, we're about to get into that. And Dylan became girlfriend, boyfriend with him, and there was all that little mashup.
And sent to solitary confinement.
So they put him in the hole for 4 weeks. It wasn't even contraband.
Krista, another prison pen pal.
Yeah. Including an exclusive with dailymail.com.
So Krista did an interview. I guess my point is has any good come from any of the pen pals that Chris Watts has interacted with? Does everyone remember this famous pen pal? The Reddit post that turned into a horror story. And this is a daytime live, so I do have my little bird with me, Junebug. If you hear some talking in the background, a little Mickey Mouse voice, that's him. He's come to say, what's that? Chris sent you some earwax? No, he didn't. Did he, Junie? You don't take earwax from Chris Watts, my friend. We do not allow earwax from Chris Watts. Anyway, yeah, I know. We're just joking. We wouldn't take Chris Watts' earwax. So do you remember this that popped up on Reddit? I'm 30 years old, having a hard time coping with my wife, 29 female, having cheated on me. Oh, wait. No, this is the wrong one. Sorry. This one. This is the one. This is where it came out that this person found out that their girlfriend had been writing to a convicted murderer, and it was thought that it was Chris Watts that he was writing to. He was still deeply in love with her, but didn't know what to do. Now, this hasn't ever been confirmed, but is your girlfriend writing letters to Chris Watts? Either way, absolutely disgusting behavior. And I suggest breaking it off. This girlfriend hid it from the boyfriend. They said like 2 weeks ago, I was spending the weekend at her place. We usually alternate weekends at one another's apartment and sometimes spend weekends together. I ended up catching some kind of stomach bug or something on Sunday and took a sick day off work on Monday. Invited me to stay at her apartment until at least Monday night, since I still wasn't feeling well enough to drive back home. And she was really sweet about it and offered to take care of me, made him some soup. So I was in the apartment alone during that time. I mostly slept and spent time in the bathroom, but at one point I didn't make it to the toilet in time and made a pretty gross mess on her bathroom floor. I really didn't want to leave it for her to deal with, so I called to ask if she had any extra towels she didn't really care about that I could use to clean up the mess. She didn't answer because she was busy at work and not near the phone, so I went digging through her linen closet, looking behind all the really good towels and blankets to find do you believe that this guy was really who in their right mind would go in the back of someone's linen closet if not expecting to find, I would be expecting to find something back in somebody's linen closet. I just would. Okay, here we go. I pulled them down a couple of things. They were stuffed away up there, came falling down, including a shoebox I'd never seen before. I really didn't like going through her things when she's not around because we respected each other's privacy and I completely trust her. But as I was cleaning up what I'd spilled, I happened to notice something odd and I just couldn't help but be a little nosy. It was an envelope addressed to her, and the return address was a prison in another state. As I looked at the other stuff in the shoebox, I found way more envelopes just like it, as well as some drawings. I'll admit, in a moment of weakness, I could not help myself. I had to see what was going on. Would you have read those letters, you guys? Would you have been able to help yourself? I think I might have been able to help myself because I had an incident where I was like 13 years old, 13-ish. My sister had she'd gotten pregnant and moved out of the house. And like when I was 12, I decided I was a big girl now, and I packed up all my stuffies and my dolls and stuff, and I put it down in the basement. But after she moved out, I don't know, I went through this thing where I just decided I wanted them back. And so I went down into the basement and I couldn't find them, and I was looking everywhere. I mean, I spent days down in that basement. You would think we had a huge basement, but it wasn't even that huge, although my mom was a bit of a pack rat. And I spent days looking through that basement. I couldn't find them, and I looked, but I came across everything else. You better believe I came across everything else, and I came across my sister's stuff. And I came across her journal and I read it. And to this day, I wish I didn't read it because I know stuff about my sister that I wish I didn't know. I know stuff about my sister that I have had to keep the secret for, like, I feel like So I know now not to read shit that you don't want because it has wounded me and stuck with me for life. And now I have the ability not to read and not to know stuff, because I know the comfort in not knowing. It's a comfort that I wish I had. So would you guys have read it? I think I could have avoided reading it. If I want to know something, like, I really think about it. Do I really want to know this information? And if I really want to know it, then I'll go forward. But if I don't, like, sometimes people will give me a letter and they're like, hey, I wrote something to you and I want you to read it. I will sometimes go, no, I'm not going to read that. Because that's not, like, you either say it aloud and we have a conversation. I'm not going to read it, because when you read it, it kind of burns into you. And I might not want it burned into me. So would you guys be able to read it or not read it? That's the question. So then he goes on to explain that he found it so odd because she has told me everything about her past, her family, her childhood. I could name every pet she's ever had, and I've met her parents, both of her siblings, and quite a few of her cousins, aunts, and uncles. And not once has anyone, least of all her, told me about knowing anyone in prison, let alone communicating with them. So this would be another incident where Chris Watts could possibly have ruined another life. Here's another one, guys. I'm reading the discovery and I'm just disgusted, flabbergasted, revolted, angered, and horrified by not only the amount of letters the child unaliver got, but the content of the letters. 95% of the letters were written by women, all of a certain age group, race, and divorced. The stench of desperation came through my phone, and I'm still in a state of disbelief. They either said that they don't believe he did what he confessed to, or that he was driven to it. Essentially blame, that's another, the one that essentially blames Shanann for it. I mean, that's the most disgusting one to me, for her own murder. One woman in particular, called Tammy, I believe, continued sending letters, awkwardly flirting, and even said at one point, "You're probably wondering why a beautiful woman like myself is writing to you," or something in that effect. She even included photos which were sent back embarrassingly, and she looked exactly as you would think, the personification of a Karen. One kept saying, "I'm going to write a letter every day until you respond," and she really did, and even rumored the letter and even numbered the letters. I don't think they know these letters would become public knowledge, or the shame they would feel. By the way, he didn't respond to any of these people. Did any of you guys see them? I can link the discovery if you guys haven't read it yet. Very interesting. 1,960 pages of evidence. So what do you guys think about the letters and the people corresponding with Chris Watts? Let me see what you guys are saying. Didn't she say she wrote Watts before she met her boyfriend? I don't know. Did she say that? Oh, yes, she did say that she met him before the boyfriend. But I think he was still pretty put off by it. He was put off by the fact that she hid the letters and that he felt like he knew everything else about her. Hello, he's got that weird peanut-shaped head. Someone looking to market and exploit him. Let her at him. Yeah, he does have a weird shaped head. If he wanders into John Poo, he's going to be eaten steel and cement. He is goofy looking. What's with the fuzz oval on top of his bald noggin? Yeah, he's one of the guys that is balding in that weird shape way where eventually he'll just have that little piece of hair. It'll probably disconnect from the back, and then he'll just have that piece on the top. I actually feel bad for guys having to, like, well, even in women too, that go through the whole balding, because hair is so important to humans. Like, we put such into hair. So I do feel bad for the guys that have to go through it. If I had to bald, I would just shave. I'd just shave my head. I do become one of those people. I just shave it all off. or maybe shave it and put like patches, like do like on the back, like designs or something. I don't know. But I'm a little extra. Actually, I'm a lot extra on everything. So, okay, guys, I think that's all I have for today. What do you guys think about this new person in Chris Watts's life? Do you think it's a lady love? Do you think she's getting all his earwax? Or do you think that it's somebody writing a book? Do you think it's somebody that would be living nearby or somebody traveling? I don't know. I'm going to have to think about if I think it's somebody living nearby or traveling, because if I feel like if she was living nearby, it would be every week that she would come, because it seems like they would come every week. So that tells me maybe she's traveling. So because she's not coming every week, but okay, I am going to go. Be sure to subscribe, you guys. And when you subscribe, check to see if you have the bell notification hit, because that will tell you when we go live. I've been wanting to just pop on live whenever I feel like it lately. When I'm not feeling the best all the time, the best I can do is just pop on when I can. So if you want to come and join me while I'm live, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. And yeah, welcome to all our dragonflies. The Dragonfly is the membership program that we have over on YouTube. Here, let me show you a little something about our Dragonfly program. And if you're not subscribed, why are you not subscribed? I would really, really, really love to have you as a power subscriber. If you really like my content, be sure to become a Dragonfly, and that's our membership, and it's $2.99 a month. I release all my videos early. We have special emojis over in the chat room. I kind of share things ahead of time with my Dragonflies, and I go live sometimes just for the Dragonflies. It's a way that I can support you guys and give you more content, and it's a way for you to support our channel. It's $2.99 a month, and I would love to have you. And I have the link right down there in the chat, and I will also have it down in the show notes. Please come and join. Every little bit helps us. If you can't, if you don't want to become a Dragonfly, we also take, oh, hold on a second. We also take Cashapp. It's right there up on top, Parawomenradio. Every little bit helps. And if nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I'm still going to tell you guys this. I love and appreciate you guys so, so much. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
I miss my cue, baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but I had you for that day. Here in the blue, I'm falling deep.
Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Helps me go out into the algorithm party out there. Bring more people back to the party. It's just a good way to help me.
Baby, I'm dancing with you tonight, and it feels fine, feels fine. Baby, I'm dancing with you tonight. Here in the blue, I'm dancing and falling out, hoping for some time with you.